Welcome to our webinar today about running a slam dunk virtual consultation. This is going to be focused on primarily buyers, but it's also applicable to sellers. And I really want to preface this as such an important topic. We know that when you're meeting with our opportunities or any opportunities in your business, right, that is something that lays the foundation for future sales success. And we know it's not that easy, right? Especially when your customers are coming from other states, they're still working, taking care of the grandkids, they're so busy. Doing a virtual consultation is really a time-efficient way to peel back the onion and to size up a potential buyer to see if they're worth your time as well. This topic is also so important to us that we were willing to pay outside keynote speakers to present on this topic. And I have to tell you, I interviewed two speakers. One is a team leader in the Baltimore, Maryland area. She coaches with Tom Ferry and swears that she sells to 80% of the clients that she does a virtual consultation with. So that's like 4 out of 5 buyers she's actually selling to. So her conversion is extraordinarily high, so high that she didn't want to share her secrets because this is her best kept secret. I interviewed another speaker in the DC area, same thing. I saw him in person at a convention. He told me that doing a virtual consultative meeting is so great at building loyalty with customers that he didn't want to share his process because he didn't want other agents to catch on and do it. So I'm confident after today, this is going to be something you weave into your business that not only helps you operate with more time efficiency, but will increase the sales output you get from meeting with your leads. So that's my long preface, and let's dive in to this presentation. So what is the purpose, right, or the goal of doing this consultative meeting? And I think it's important for us to define that to understand really what the value of investing 30 to 60 minutes with someone in a virtual forum is. First is building an ironclad relationship, starting with trust, right? If you're going to help somebody through a very significant purchase in their lives, they have to be trusting of you. And it's reciprocal, meaning you have to be trusting of this person and have a baseline understanding that they're going to be a reliable client and somebody who's willing to transact with you. Next, you want to be able to build rapport successfully with your clients, finding common ground. People want to know and do business with people they like. So that's an important part of getting a face-to-face meeting in a virtual forum. And finally, we know in today's day and age, loyalty is hard to come by in the real estate business. First and foremost, because there are so many realtors and it's a competitive sales environment. But secondly, because people are desperate for homes and they're literally reaching out to agents, various agents, to see if they have pocket listings. Going through this process is going to help create greater degree of loyalty with your online leads, which is a huge win for such a small time investment. So next, doing effective discovery is really going to help you understand your customer so that you can best assist them. You guys do a really phenomenal job of doing quick discovery on the fly, right? When you get a new lead between appointments, sometimes it's hard to retain that conversation, or if we don't have a notebook or not logged into Huddle, it's hard for us to remember what we talked about. So doing repeat discovery or reinforcing the discovery, recapping it, right, doing it in a virtual setting is going to help you retain, right, what you discuss with a customer. You could even record the Zoom meeting. That serves two purposes, right? The first purpose is so you could refer back to it when you have to follow up with that customer. The second is so that you could assess your skills in conducting an online virtual consultation, and that will help you improve and have greater degree of self-awareness. In terms of doing discovery, I would recommend being logged into Huddle and having a notebook next to your desk and taking notes during the meeting. If you have dual monitors, you could literally have Huddle open on your other monitor and take notes about what that person's saying, and it's all right there for you. You won't have to create duplicate work of transcribing it later. So that's a huge time saver. The next benefit of doing a virtual consultative meeting is demonstrating your value. I know your value and your worth. 55 Places knows your value and your worth. You're an incredible professional, right, who is extremely well informed about the active adult market in your area, and you have great customer service skills. I think we could do a better job of articulating our value prop to our customer. So we're going to talk about how we could do that today in a virtual consultative meeting. And then last but not least, we want to help our clients feel confident in moving forward in the process. I would say, regardless, any market, the number one thing that holds your customer back from moving forward is probably fear, right? So having this meeting is going to help us unpack their fears and really get them into a more confident position. Sound good? All right, so let's start by, we defined the goal and the purpose, but now we're going to define the process. So again, step one, you're going to spend 5, 10, 15 minutes doing discovery with your buyer or seller. Number two, you're going to formulate a plan for them, right? Do they need to sell? Can they buy without selling? Do they need to go into temporary housing? Are they trying to line the deals up to close on the same day? My goodness, that is very stressful and tough to do right now. So you're going to hear out like what their ideal vision would be and then formulate a plan for them so that that can take the worry of the unknown out of the moving process. So next, you're going to talk about you. And I really think it's so important that you could articulate, again, the level of service you provide and the value of your agency relationship. You know, those disclosure forms that we're supposed to get our clients to sign. Are we able to define our value, right? And that's something we need to really be better at. So we'll go through that. Number 4, we're going to educate the consumers on our market. We all have buyers right now that are like hesitant to make decisions because they're not informed, or right, they win an offer, they win a bid, and then they like freak out and cancel the deal or scrutinize home inspection issues because they're getting remorse. So when we have a really well-defined education, that again will help remove the remorse or the regret from this purchase. And then finally, we're going to define next steps for the buyer so that they have a action plan for what they need to do to make their move happen. And it also sets expectation for like your future follow-up. So I'm super excited about going through this step with all of you. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? One of the biggest challenges right now is the limited inventory in many, many markets, right? And buyers of this nature, right, they want to make a discerning, well thought out purchase. It might be their last home. They want it to be a great one. So certainly being selective is important. So what our agents are really great at is really making a connection with leads quickly, doing great discovery. And then when it comes time for that next step, you know, they're like, well, there's nothing for sale here. We don't have any homes on the market, right? So what's happening is we're dead ending conversations. Like we're up against a brick wall and there's not very many places to go. So we'll say, you know, hey, I'm going to put you on an MLS strip and, you know, I will call you when something pops on. Okay. The problem with that is like it puts us in a very passive place instead of a proactive place. And finally, like we just let the lead know, like, I'll keep you posted, hopefully, right? I want to help you stop having dead ends and start being very, very assertive and putting your leads on a plan to get them in a position to move forward. So think about, right, sort of the way I set that up. Is your buyer, right, going to feel confident to make a quick decision when the right home is listed, right? They get into that community or home for the first time after you put them on an MLS strip. Like, are they going to feel like ready? Chances are like, hell no, right? They're not going to feel comfortable putting down $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on a home without having gone through the process of really being ready, willing, and able. So think about like a sports analogy, right? What do the coaches tell their players? And that's to get into a ready position, right? Whether it's tennis, baseball, hockey, or a race, when you're ready, you could be agile. You can go left, you can go right. But what's most importantly is that you can make an instinctive decision without having to think about it. And that's the place that you want to get your buyers into, whereas they can make a confident decision, reactive, because they've already done the hard work of getting themselves into position. So I think, if not anything, getting your buyers teed up is probably the most critical function of doing a consultative meeting. And if you think about other professionals, right, like doctors, attorneys, and stuff, like the doctor is the one driving that plan forward. It's not the patient. So you guys as professionals are the ones that have to take charge of your clients and get them in a plan or a process to help move them forward instinctively so that they can make confident decisions when presented with a choice. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I hope you guys process what I'm saying, and I want to turn into our discovery questions. When you speak with a lead on the phone, chances are you are asking some of these really great questions. Doing it in a virtual forum will allow you, again, to dive a little bit deeper, maybe to ask questions or follow-up questions that you didn't think of, right, when you were on the fly. And this is going to allow you time to repeat back, right, what they told you and to write it down. So if you guys want to screenshot this, I recommend asking what's going on in their world, that has them considering moving. You could ask this question many different ways in a way that's comfortable for you in your voice and your tone. What I would avoid, right, is asking why. And if you think about it, when you ask why, it puts people in a defensive place, like they have to justify their logic or their reasoning for something. So just, hey, what's making you consider moving? What's going on in your world? And then peel back that onion, right? Tell me more. We know that online inquiries, they want to be poker faced and they don't want to talk, right? So don't accept their first answer. Oh, we're downsizing, or oh, we want to get on one floor. Oh, we want to be near the kids. Tell me more about that. How often do you see your grandkids now? Are you going to be babysitting for them? Really get to know the true circumstance for their move. Again, that's going to help you suss out, right, if this person is kind of serious or just kicking tires. So next question. You want to know how familiar they are with the area and have they visited the area before. You should have a baseline knowledge of their their familiarity with your market. Are they from there? Do they have family there? Did they throw darts at a map, right? We know our agents in Florida, that happens all the time. They want to go from Tampa to Naples to Orlando to the Palm Beach coast. They don't know. You have to find out like what is their reasoning for being in your market. Another reason I think you should ask, like, if they've seen any homes they like, right? Have you visited the community? Have you seen anything you like? That's going to help you determine if they're working with a realtor. And one challenge we have as a company, right? We get customer service phone calls. They tell our representative, oh, no, we're not working with any realtors, no realtors. They say that because they want to be put through to a realtor so they can ask their question to our realtor because their realtor doesn't know it, right? So they say what they need to say to get to you. When you ask them, oh, are you working with a realtor? They're, oh, yeah, we're good. We have a realtor, right? Which one is a lie? We don't know, but chances are they're telling you they have a realtor, right? Because they don't want to get on your MLS strip. They don't want to be pressured into something. So they clam up, and it's hard to know if you're getting the truth. So I think you need to know if they have a relationship with another realtor, but we have to put on like our Jedi hat and find out in another way. And I think understanding if they visited the community in person, I think that will help you determine what the backstory is there. And then next, you want to find out how long have they been thinking about making this move. I think people think about this for years, right? They're dreaming of their next move for years or owning a second home. So it's good to kind of go on that journey with them. It's also the inverse of asking, what's your time frame? And you know what they're going to answer, right? If you guys want to post that in the chat, like, what's your time frame? Like, what is their response typically? You guys know. Same thing when you go into Best Buy, you're just looking, right? That answer doesn't help you determine their motivation or ability to transact. So I'd find out, again, the backstory. And then finally, you want to talk about their current living situation, right? Is there an opportunity for you to list their home? You know, where are they coming from? How long have they lived there? That's going to help you like just understand like where they are with their experience in transacting in real estate in the recent years. And what they love about their home, that's probably your biggest competition, right? Because that's what's going to prevent them from moving. So it's good to know that. And then what would they change about it? And that's really where you can find the pain in their situation or what they're looking to change about moving. Alrighty, I will pause here and just check on the questions. Perfect. We have a comment about going to a new construction community before inquiring. Yeah, you might not be able to help them if they've already registered with the builder, but if they've gone to resale open houses or driven through on their own, I think it's good to understand like where they are. And yes, I'm happy to send out the slides. If you guys want these slides, let me know and I can make sure everybody gets them next week. So moving on, this is a Jared James quote, so I can't say that I created it, but remember, the quality of your questions is what's going to determine the quality of your conversations. And I had a little fun with some partner agents last week in our meetings, but you wouldn't go on an online date, right? You wouldn't have a conversation with somebody and ask them ridiculous questions like, oh, do you want to get married? Are you seeing anybody else? Same thing with your real estate leads. You don't want to go out and be direct. Hey, are you pre-qualified? What's your price point? What's your time frame? Are you working with a realtor? Those 4 questions seem interrogating and extraordinarily forward to ask of an online lead if you have no rapport built with them. So remember, you need those answers, but you are stealthy and resourceful and can ask great questions to get the good answers. All right, so let's talk about formulating a plan. I would just ask your client, ideally, how would you like to make this move, right? How do you see this happening? And just listen, let them talk. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind. A lot of people will tell you ideal versus real. I like that little rhyme there, ideal versus real. They're going to tell you how they ideally want the process to go, right? Ideally, they would like to find their next home before selling their current home. But for many people, we know that that's not going to be the reality. Let them talk about their ideal, right? Align with them. Don't burst their bubble. If you burst their bubble, guess what? They're not going to want to work with you. You've just annoyed them. Align with them. Oh, that sounds like a great plan. And then go through like, here's how my clients have proceeded with this move. And here's the benefits and drawback of each. So I can share this slide with you, right? And you can just edit it yourself and add your own color to it. But there's basically like 3 ways to make this move. And you need to articulate that, the pros and cons of each to your clients. So number 1, right? They could sell and buy at the same time. Why is that a good deal? Because they don't have to carry 2 mortgages. They don't have to move twice, and they can be in one home in the morning and in their new home in the afternoon. And that's ideally how it would happen. Now, in today's market, right, that's tough. You have to sell your home and then hope there's a home that you like on the market within a 30 to 40 day time frame. That's a tall order right now with an inventory shortage. We know that when negotiating on a purchase, we want to be in a position of power so we can have more leverage in negotiating. If you have a home sale contingency, right, like you're not in a position of power. So although number 1, right, is a good choice for a lot of reasons, there are drawbacks. Going to the second option, we want to sell first. We need to liquidate our primary residence. We need to get the cash out. We need to go into a short-term rental or live with family for a period of time so that we could be ready when the right home comes on. There's benefits to that, right? They don't have to carry two properties. They have more leverage when negotiating. They have their cash or their assets in hand. So that is a big win. But I mean, who on earth wants to move twice? That's so stressful. That's so costly. And it induces fear, right? They have to stay somewhere and they don't know what their next step is, right? Nobody wants that. But people do it. And then the third option, if they're in a position of ability, they can buy before selling. And the pro is that is so much less stress when they know where they're going. That allows them flexibility in waiting for the right home. And if they don't have a home sale contingency in place, they can negotiate like in a position of power. And they could do this by getting a home equity line of credit. They could liquidate other assets. They could put honestly 5% down, 10% down and mortgage the balance. So there are creative solutions to make that possible. And the only drawback would be like they might have to carry two properties for a period of time. But I see that as a small drawback, especially if you have insight into their local market and can say, hey, homes in your neighborhood go under contract in about 14 days, right? That is going to reduce the worry. But walk through them with this. They have to think out loud and kind of go on this journey with you to help them visualize what the process will look like for them, that others have walked in their shoes, right? These are the only three options. If there's like a fourth option that I'm missing, please tell me. But it's one of three, right? And you could probably with confidence talk about your other clients' experience going through this process. So I think it just helps to have this conversation. Then you have to pivot. So we're going to pivot this conversation into all about you. So you have to ask, perfect, this is great. So I have your plan. I have an understanding of how you'd like this to go. I'm just curious, like, when was the last time you bought or sold a home? If it was recent, you could just, compliment them. Excellent, you're a pro. So what I'm going to go through over the next few minutes is just going to be a reminder for you. If it's been a while, like it's dated 20, 30 years. Excellent, no problem. Let me walk you through how I'm going to support you through this process. And this is where you get to demonstrate your value. Again, I'll share these slides and you could just copy and paste this and put it into your own words. And I know you guys do like way more than 6 things. You probably do like 100 things, right, when serving your clients. So feel free to put this on like a legal size document and go through every single thing you do. But as high level, you could talk about your service. Make sure they know you are a specialist in working with the downsizing population. You could do 55 plus communities or buyers who are simply relocating state lines. You're comfortable with that. You must talk about where you serve. I know it's a frustration point, right? Because you'll get a lead and then they'll connect with an agent like that's 2 towns away through our program because it's a different market, not realizing that you could help them there too. So be assertive and communicate, hey, I go to these 3 counties, these 4 counties, these are some of the biggest towns and I can go anywhere. Let them know that you could help them with a home, whether it's in a 55 plus neighborhood or not. I think that's our biggest opportunity, is making sure it's crystal clear what we can and cannot do for our clients. Number 4, let them know that you can help them sell their primary residence or connect them with another amazing partner agent to help them manage this transition. And don't forget new construction sales, like we had a comment earlier, but we probably lose too much business to leads who don't realize that we could facilitate that move for them and that act as their advocate. I'd walk through how the sales representatives, like they're there to protect the builder's interest. So you could have an advocate as well, and someone who's going to be there, the boots on the ground, to manage that process for them, add value. And we have plenty of agents who have helped save people deals or get more incentives for clients. So talk about that. And then last but not least, you have to talk about agency relationships. I know personally when I was selling, I failed at that, right? Like I would say, here's the form, and I would just like give them the form. I could be a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, a dual agent. Well, what does that mean, right? What are your fiduciary responsibilities of obedience, of confidentiality, of honesty to all parties? Talk about what you're required to do. And so they know, right, that increases the trust level as a professional. So walk through, again, your level of service. And this is just a starting point. Again, you could be as detailed as you want when speaking with your customers. So next, I think you should talk about the process, right, with them. Here's how I work, right? I talked about where I work and what my obligations to you are, but here's how I do it. And first, we're gonna strategize. We're gonna talk about ideally how you'd like to facilitate this move. Then we're going to talk about the communities and the neighborhoods and the towns and identify areas where you feel like you fit. It's a comfortable place for you. We're going to get a financial game plan in place that may be connecting with a mortgage professional, that may be moving cash to different accounts, that may be connecting with like a tax professional or a financial advisor. But whatever it is, you're going to give them a recommendation so they know exactly what to do. There's no question. Next, you're going to help them get specific on price and what they're looking for in their next home. I joke about the conversation about inventory because it's like when you get a new lead, the home is like the last piece of the puzzle, right? There's a lot of things that have to happen before somebody finds the right home, and that's getting into that ready position. So don't let lack of inventory sort of like dead end that process with your clients. There's so many steps that you could do to get them ready for that. You keep them informed of the search. You go through the offer and negotiations. And we all know like the hardest part of the job, honestly, is number 7. You're facilitating contracts to close, which is a lot of emotions, making sure deposits are paid, home inspections are completed on time. If there's issues, you're dealing with that. You're collaborating with whatever financial professional is involved with this deal. And then you're closing it right through the walkthrough and closing. And your relationship, the most important, does not end with closing. You continue to be a trusted local resource for them. We all love subsequent sales, so let's keep the door open. Next, we're going to talk about market overview and how you could educate your buyer on what's going on in the market. To do this, I rely on like 3 things. We'll go through it, but Google Maps, 55 Places, and your MLS. Those are like the 3 resources that you have. They're free, right? You already pay for your MLS. Go to Google, right? Find the community. I think right here is a community called the Regency at Monroe. Google is wonderful because it already has pins on the map. Here's a beautiful zoo and a park. Here's the Verizon store. Here's some nurseries, Walgreens. You could add a map and your own pins to say, okay, like the grocery store is right here and it's 3 miles from the community. Giving them a visualization helps them again start to feel comfortable with the area, even though they're not physically there. I would go to 55places.com. Yes, they could do this on their own, but I would redirect them back to certain things about how to find homes for sale or the amenities. I don't know if you guys are good about memorizing clubs and amenities at communities, but you could say, hey, the Regency at Monroe, right? This community has really unparalleled amenities. You click on it, you look through them, ask them, hey, which ones are your favorite? What would you enjoy? The billiards room, how often do you work out? Make a conversation about their interests and how the community blends with their life. And then last but not least, go into your MLS. Instead of showing active, show closed, show the last 6 months, and average out days on market, average out list to sale price, and then how many homes are selling per month and per quarter. That's going to give them like what to expect, right? Hey, here's what you can expect, right? We're seeing 2 homes in this community come on and off a month. So if you're serious about moving here, you're going to know that, of the 2 homes that come on this month, like you're going to have to choose one, right? If you want to wait three to 4 months, right, you're going to get to look at 6 to 8 properties, but at some point you're going to have to make a decision. And then in terms of crafting an offer, who wants to overpay? Like nobody wants to overpay. So you have to look at the list to sale price and tell them what the going rate is. If the going rate is 104% in your market and your client gets a home for 103%, they didn't overpay. They got a better deal than the others. So knowing that number and being able to say with confidence what's going on in that market is going to help you, again, remove fear and come off as a really credible expert. And then finally, just again, building upon the discovery, asking them like, what's the most important thing in your search, right? Is it being within a price point specifically? Is it the location of the community? Is it the amenities and the lifestyle? Or is it just the home? So this is a great way, again, to educate and continue doing discovery for that customer. And then last, let's close it out, right? Based on what you told me, here's what action steps I recommend you take. And this is where you get to be the professional and the advocate and give guidance. Pick one, right? We don't want to confuse them. So when you talk about like their plan for financing their next home, give them a homework assignment. Here's my homework assignment. Okay. You told me you want to use cash, right, from your retirement assets. Call your 401k manager and find out what the process is for withdrawing funds and what the tax implications will be. Give them like 1 or 2, right? Call a mortgage lender, call a bank. That's going to help kickstart what they need to do to get their ducks in a row. And then next, you want to ask for the appointment in person. Talk about your past experience with clients. My past clients find that it's been a benefit for them to see the communities in person. It's really great to look online. It's really great to talk about it. No matter where they are in the time process, seeing the communities helps them determine if this is a fit for them. When do you think you can get here? And just ask 2 or 3 times and remind them, you're going to follow up with them. You're going to be their partner in this journey. So you want to have like an outline and plan for your future follow-up. Hey, I'm going to call you on this date to confirm our appointment. I'm going to check in with you to see how it went with your, 401k team next Friday. You have to drive that plan forward. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So take the bull by the horns and be the professional who's driving the process. So yeah, that's it on virtual buyer consultations. I am available to answer questions for you on the process, on anything. So go ahead and pop in your questions. We have one here. What do you recommend we say to convince lead to have us create a search portal and use the portal in the MLS when they prefer to use 55 Places website to look at properties? So I think it's okay for them to use 55 Places. They can create an account and like sign up for listing alerts or alerts on communities. So I think it's okay if you put them on a drip as well. However, I think it's like duplicated efforts and it leads to people just unsubscribing, right? So what I did when I was selling to these leads is I put myself on a drip for like 20 communities in my area. So every night, I remember every night at 9 p.m., I got the listings and then I could forward it to the lead I knew was looking in that community. And then it was like a more personalized experience for that lead and it didn't overwhelm them. So I don't think it's necessary for an MLS drip. I think it's added value, but I would recommend putting yourself on the drip and then taking that initiative to reach out to the client yourself. What else? Questions, thoughts? Here we go. Oh, great question. What do you recommend for virtual meetings? Yeah, I recommend Zoom. I think it's the most popular It is free for like up to 45 minutes. So if you're really time efficient and can get through your meeting in 45 minutes, use Zoom. You could use a paid version as well. Zoom's great for the screen share functionality. I believe FaceTime, if you're iPhone to iPhone, or WhatsApp are like free solutions. I'm not certain about screen sharing, but I do believe you would want the capability to share your screen during this meeting. Super. Last call for questions here. I hope you found going through this inspiring and insightful. We know that when you meet with people, you're going to sell more homes, and there's nothing more cost effective and time saving than doing a Zoom from your own phone. And that's going to help you really determine who is worth investing your time into, and it's going to help build your loyalty and really lay the foundation for future sales. So thanks to each and every one of you for being here today. I appreciate you. And if you have further questions on this topic, send them my way. Oh, and one more question. Sorry. How do you suggest the virtual meeting? I say go for it on the very first phone call. Just tell them, hey, I like to get to know my clients, and I like to, go through this process and answer the questions in like a really organized forum. Can we connect for a scheduled call? Can we connect for Zoom? Do you have a computer? Stuff like that. So anyway, I will send out the slides in the coming days so you could have them, you could take them, you could change them and make them your own and go on and do your really awesome presentations for your leads. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.